Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hearthstone. Let's trade out one of these quests. We're actually rather close to the end of the season and it's proving the thing I thought that was going to happen. We need, I guess, 3 games with Warlock, and so we'll play Warlock and Hunter. There's just no getting both standard and wild up to 18. You play the whole month, for me at least. So let's see, wild, hunter, play. There we go. Just want to play a little wild, casual here. See how it's going. So Steam Summer Sale Day 5 right now going on. As for me, I'm 99.9% done. I've purchased all the games. I spent what it came down to in a lot of ways is I think I accidentally did some good time management here, which is always impressive and an accident in my case. I spent the first day looking at everything, thinking to myself, let's wait at least 24 hours to make sure there aren't any flash sales or daily sales. We didn't really get any official word from Valve at all. Oddly enough, I never saw Valve say anything. PayPal announced the day it was going to come out, and it just happened, and it's also updating on at like noon, which is a pain.
Greetings, traveler.
Wow.
So, like, I waited one day, I built up my list to about $750 worth
quite what was planned.
of, let's go and squelch him, I don't want to hear people talk today, particularly. So I got my list up to about $750 worth of things that were in contention, at least. And then I shaved it down to a little bit over $300 budget. So I went over budget a little bit, but not any real amount that concerns me too much. And now the only thing left is I'm playing the trading card game, which it is literally just a system that feeds into itself. The only thing that trading cards and making badges with the trading cards does is raise my level, which gives me more friend slots, which I have way too many because nobody else on Steam, as best as I can figure, has any levels, so they can only have like 5 friends, so they're not gonna friend somebody at random on Steam. Also, on top of that, there's no real reason to friend people on Steam unless you're playing competitive online games, which I don't, so obviously that's why I haven't ever received a friend request or anything like that. So, yes, it gives me up levels to give me more friend slots. It also gets me up levels. So in theory, I would get booster packs. In theory, if I got really, really, really high in my levels, I'm at like 33, I might every day, unless I'm doing something wrong, let's go ahead and just kill this guy. Let's see. Like, I might get a booster pack every day. Booster packs could then be turned around and sold. Booster packs in themselves are deceitful in my mind because they only give you 3 trading cards and you can kind of rather easily end up getting like the exact same 3 trading cards. Every badge needs at least 5 cards. 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 So that's a little dishonest too. But the booster packs do trade for slightly more expensive things. So you could sell like a booster pack for maybe, let's see, 35 cents or more for a booster pack, where each individual card would be 8 cents on average, so 8, 16, 24. You're getting almost 11 cents more. So there is some profit there, maybe in theory, if you get your levels up to the point where you are seeing a booster pack every day. I have time clickers running non-stop. I shouldn't, but so I should be logged into Steam, and unless it means I need to exit out of Steam every day and exit back in to be eligible for those those elements. I don't know what the other thing would be.
The beasts betrayed me.
Let's see.
The beasts betrayed me.
Do I want to kill?
Give that minion a turn to get ready.
So, like, in theory, highly unlikely it would ever happen, but in theory, I could make profit on the trading cards. However, in practicality, you still end up having to buy individual trading cards to make packs, make full collections, because you'll just end up with the same things over and over again. The only time it makes sense to buy a booster pack is if you can level each badge up to level 5, and then you can also do foil things up to, I think, a level 5 too. So if you do all of that, let's see, I don't want to die quite yet, so let's
The light compels you.
how can I do this and save the most amount of creatures? I don't think I can save too many of them. Hey, oh, it only did 1 damage. Good. This.
For the eye.
So I could have won right then. I'm not paying enough attention. I'm talking. But yeah, I'm just trying to get up levels, just in case at some point a lot of people wants to do it. I put $10 in currency into it. Every Steam summer sale, spending $10 doesn't seem like it's too much. Particularly when we get into the next topic, which is the sales are not going great. They simply just are not. It's not as much of a discount as I wanted. Games that I could have gotten, but it would have been significant amounts of money, and I found better deals in old games, which I'm starting to run out of those too. So eventually it is just going to be the scenario where I buy the brand new games as they come out and don't even bother with some of the sales, except for maybe a little bit of cleanup. I could have gotten Doom for half off, but Tomb Raider 2, when you got the season pass and all the DLC, is still at $60. The non-season pass version of it looks like it's on sale, but then when you put the season pass on top of it, which wasn't discounted at all, it's right back up to $60. Is that probably that is because Tomb Raider 2 hasn't come out for PlayStation 4, so in a lot of ways it technically for half the people hasn't come out at all. But it's been available on PC, so that's what season passes were always for. To keep the price artificially high. 6 months later,
Begin. Bring it on.
which is ironic because Doom I don't think has the season pass, and its multiplayer is certainly not the good part of Doom, so it wouldn't matter anyways. Unless Doom's season pass does turn around and they do have one and it gives you, I guess, new single player content, which I don't think is necessary. I think they made a good game and put all the content in it. Hopefully that's proven true. So I could have done that. I did get Wolfenstein: The New Order, which is like a year-old game, for a decent price, but it was slightly more expensive than what I probably would have wanted. There was a lot of that. As I'm like trying to sort the games I've got, I'm up to now almost 500. I'm 17 games short of 500 games in the library. Which, that's games, so I probably have a lot of DLC and stuff on there. I got the DLC for Lego Batman 3, and I don't know when I'm ever gonna play that.
I concede.
Ooh, that's nice. But I wanted to throw that in. I think I got Lego Jurassic World, but Lego Marvel Avengers wasn't really discounted. Lego Jurassic World was still like $13 when I wish it was 10. And then I put DLC into it, so by the time I was done, if I did purchase that, because I accidentally or intentionally was having trouble with the cart and lost what was in the cart several times, and I knew that was going to happen, so every night I would copy what was in my shopping cart and just print it out,
You asked for it.
just so I could go back. And then before the final purchase, I put everything in there from memory, and then I looked at the printout and said, well, if I don't remember this and I just did it a day earlier, is it really that good? And then that helped me make some tough decisions. I got more hidden object games and tried to go good. I don't know if I discussed this or not. I want to do visual novels. I want to do Clonard, but I would have to hire somebody. Absolutely. Just the way it works with Clonard and visual novels, it's just set up in such a way that you would have to, what am I trying to say? You would have to read every single thing that's said, because no visual novel has the budget, sadly, to actually be fully voiced. It looks like, at least. I would think Clonard would be the one if they were going to do that, but frankly, if it's voiced and it's a visual novel and it's an anime style animation, which almost the vast majority of visual novels are, then why not just have an anime? And so with those factors together, it suddenly becomes rather apparent why that just doesn't happen. And so the only way I could have somebody cover visual novels, and that's what I'm thinking, is that at some distant point in the future, I mean, I desperately need an artist. I don't desperately need somebody that would work for me and cover visual novels. But it would be a time slot decision, really. I would say, well, I run my channel like it's a TV slot and or a TV channel, and TV channels don't have shows just made constantly by one person, usually. So I'd have somebody play those visual novels, voice act effectively as best they could. You don't have to be perfect there, and then so it would have to be somebody that loves them before they even start, was a
Knowledge
decent
is
voice
power,
actor,
and
was a
I
decent
know a
video
lot.
game critic, because I doubt I would have time to go and watch the footage that whoever I hired to do this. I don't think I would have the time to turn around and watch their footage and comment on their commentary. That seems like that would be a lot of extra work. They'd have to be very meticulous, I would think, and go through at least several of the multiple paths. Maybe not. Maybe they could get away with just going with the path they chose. But and then they, of course, because it's visual novels, would have to be okay with the anime style. They'd have to be okay with guy on guy visual novels. They'd have to be okay with girl on girl visual novels. They'd have to be okay with the pigeon on pigeon visual novel, because that's real. Hateful boyfriend. So, like, all of those things would also be a factor.
For the sword.
Let's see. Do I want to play this, or do I want to play this? I think I want to play this. Ah, man, missed out on that 2-2 slime. I should have killed one of them. Oh well. So, that's something that, like, in the distant future, I was thinking I'd probably, if I wanted to go down that route, that would be a lot of games on Steam that could be played, and you could certainly be disconcerted with it, and not just play the worst, awful ones that are 100% text. I don't think too many people would do that. I think there might be a market in there for fans of that style of genre, particularly because, let's see, let's go ahead and kill this guy, and then this guy, this guy on the field. I doubt very many YouTubers do cover that, and be a long-running, interesting story-based footage, if done right. Of course, you have to be really good at reading and really good at voice acting, at least somewhat decent. It really screams to me as a job that would not work well if I tried to do it. Because, let's face it, my voice pretty much sucks, and it's not got a wide range. Let's see. Almost a victory here. Got it all the way down to 1. I wish I had an ability to do 1 more damage. That probably would have activated this trap, and then I could have defeated it in the next turn. So yeah, that's a thought. Unfortunately, if I was to hire somebody to do that, the hiring part is going to be a joke, because I'm certainly not making any income. The income's back down to 60%. 60 cents every rolling 7 days, which is low. So the only thing I could offer somebody like that is, well, maybe if you're doing one video a day and I'm doing 5, when income comes in, I could give you maybe the proportional amount of that without going really crazy there. I mean, YouTube, certainly we could calculate that with YouTube's analytics of what videos were there. Maybe because my channel's slightly bigger than just a from scratch channel, I can interest people that way. I'd want to have a very good working relationship. Maybe I could teach them a lot of the things I've learned and not have to start from scratch there. And I could share access to the games, so I could probably purchase the games as long as they continue to make videos, and give them access to all the games I've covered too, so they would have quite the library, which would be a decent deal in my mind, but it's not a career. You'd still have to work probably a full-time job and then like come home and play the visual novel, and then if you still wanted to play video games after that, you would be capable of playing the extra games that were on in my library, and that's just something. So this isn't an offer now, this is just a thought. In fact, I shouldn't have probably even brought it up. People certainly could just cut me out of the loop completely, start their own YouTube channel, and then
Beasts betrayed me.
make their own videos and just have it simply focused on that. By far I need an artist a lot more. VidCon's going on right now. Nothing really new there. It's just like the YouTube creators is trying to say, we got all these new things, love this, love us, love us, love us type stuff, and it's like, you didn't do jack diddly, because you're YouTube and you don't do jack diddly ever. And I'm kind of glad for that, but I'm not gonna pat you on the back for it too. The thing that YouTube has done, and probably this is what they're trying to do, is distract it, is they've started to enforce inappropriate videos not getting monetized maybe a little bit more than they used to, and going into the dangerous path of censorship in a lot of ways. I still kind of stand by my thought that the new rules that are super vague and non-specific are there so that they can specifically target people who would like harassing people in the real world and not arguing with YouTubers versus YouTubers, but even also then trying to target YouTubers that were harassing other YouTubers for no reason, because like from my perspective as a YouTuber, I don't want somebody coming at me and just doing an unfair attack against me just because that's their channel and that's how they get views. I mean, that seems unfair, and it seems unwarranted is a good phrase. Now, if somebody wanted to criticize me and do it in a professional and respectful way, which those are very subjective terms, I'm not going to be too upset about it. We get YouTube comments all the time. YouTubers do, it's like, you suck, you should do this, you should do this. It's like, that's easy enough to ignore usually. And it is somewhat on me to just have a thick enough, and I'm going to put videos out.
Oh, goody.
At all. So that is also on me. But if somebody makes like a 20-minute video about it and then they don't say anything that I can improve upon, they're not being helpful. And that's not something I think YouTube wants to encourage, and I agree with them. It's like, you have to, this is a slippery slope argument, but you do kind of have to, from YouTube's perspective, understand that they want YouTube to continue, and some of the things YouTube is doing itself is wrong, like YouTube Red and singling out specific creators and helping creators. They're certainly still helping like College Humor because their annotations work on mobile when nobody else's does, so they're giving them a hugely unfair advantage. Maybe they're testing to release this out for everybody else, but it's been long enough, and there's been no announcement or anything else. I don't think I'm gonna win this one. Having people like PewDiePie and YouTube Red making this original content that's big budget is not what YouTube should do. They super support Vimeo for a stupid reason. If you ever go look at the trending music section of Vimeo, it's all trending music section. It's all Vimeo. Every single video is Vimeo. And frankly, just get rid of it. I would much prefer YouTube to be full of people doing covers and their original art, and that should be the good stuff, not people just going and getting thrown into the music video that they could hear on the radio anyways, and any other of the tons of
The light compels you.
music streaming services. The power there is far too good on Vimeo. Plus, if you kicked out Vimeo, you'd probably get rid of a lot of content ideas. The same thing. But on the other side, with the trying to control and rein in the nastier side of YouTube, with the prank channels and the just harassment hit these channels and controversial. If they don't do something to rein that in, the way YouTube's been going, I could certainly see all of YouTube being just that. And it gets views in the same way that like MTV gets views when they do garbage spring break things. I don't know if that's even what MTV is doing these days, but that's what they were certainly doing. They stopped doing music videos and they started doing spring breaks and fights, and then you got then you just get into the reality TV set, and we don't want YouTube to become the reality TV set because that's gonna lose.
Let the hunt begin.
YouTube is about good original content. It has to be about good original content. It has to stay being good original independent content. As soon as the big boys get in there, as soon as ABC, NBC starts trying to put things on YouTube and taking it over, then it just becomes another ABC, NBC, CBS. It just becomes another TV channel with the same garbage that we see on TV channels. If it becomes the Wild West, then it becomes just shouting matches, nightmares.
Greetings. Bring out your dead.
Greetings, traveler.
So I understand what they're doing. I don't know. Like Jim Sterling's Radiator 2 got demonetized, which makes no sense. No, it didn't get demonetized. It got delisted from YouTube Gaming for being controversial, which, okay. I mean, it makes sense in a lot of ways.
Bring out your dead.
What is this one? Because Radiator 2 is a controversial. It was intended to be a controversial, like, gay themes, 3 mini games. And it is. In fact, it's controversial, at least in my mind, in that it simply just focuses on being like a stereotypical sex-obsessed homosexual like interactions. Like, you've got one mini game where you're like spanking another guy, just BDSM. You've got one mini game where you're suggestively eating a corn dog, and then you've got one mini game where you're driving a car and basically having sex with the car, and like this is not what I want for homosexual empowerment at all. This isn't telling a good and relatable story. This is just sideshowing them. It's putting them up as sideshow freaks. So, like, gay people, homosexual people should be super upset with Radiator because it's pandering. It's like, look at the freaks. Oh, they can't do normal things like, oh, have conversations, hug each other, things like that. No, they're all into having sex with their cars and eating corn dogs and BDSM, and some of them are into BDSM, but that's hardly the majority of them. And I guess some of them are even the cars and corn dogs, but
The light compels
so I can see why that is controversial in the wrong way, and Jim Sterling tried to play it off as like, oh, this is real serious, this is impactful, this has got a message to say, just like the creator, I'm sure, tries to do the same thing. But that's BS art talk. So many artists that are bad artists, and making video games is a form of art. So many bad artists try stuff like that. It's like, well, I don't have any real concept, so I'll just take this silly, stupid concept that's pandering and do it.
Well played.
It is I put poop on the canvas and
You have
I
been.
call that art, a way of making art. That's not art. There's nothing deep and impactful there. And certainly some art snobs will fall for that. And then I'm surprised I'm gonna get this quest done. And yeah, it's just not good. So, yeah. Furthermore, I'd say on Jim Sterling is he pushes the boundaries a lot, and he should pull back because he wants to be that drama queen that he is, and no insult meaning in that phrase really, but he is a drama queen. He wants to cause controversy, so he can complain about it, so he's
Let
still
the
relevant.
hunt begin.
That's what he wants to do, that's what he does, and it works for him, sadly. And that's not something I would want to do. So, what else? Rupees in
Greetings.
the Wind Waker aren't gonna work the same way, it seems like. Which just is more scariness for the new Zelda, but I mean, I'm not gonna play the new Zelda anyways. The only way I could play the new Zelda, or imagine that I'd play the new Zelda, is if the Dolphin emulator that is now to version 5 could start playing like brand new games, and the only way I'd still do that is if Nintendo bought the Dolphin emulator and started porting all its games to PC, and it was a legitimate thing, and I wouldn't be encouraging people to potentially steal the Nintendo games. But it is concerning. I don't want to see Nintendo fail. Nintendo's not going to fail in a short time. You look at Sega. Sega's been failing for decades, and they still haven't been bought out. And like, if Sega had failed right after the Dreamcast and been bought out by a company that wanted that license, like Nintendo, then all those great Sega games from their early generations would have gotten much better sequels. They would have continued as major parts of the series. Let's see. So, and the same is true for Nintendo. Nintendo could operate at a minimal loss for hundreds of years and be fine. So we don't want
Is
that
someone
slow
injured?
pattern that they're already kind of in. I wanted to get the Zombie U game that was a Wii U game, but it was still like $10 and it has mixed reviews, so I was like, can I spend $10 on this game, or do I spend $10 on these 10 games type things? And that's always the questions that I end up having to ask during these sales. What else? Mighty Number 9 is still bad. It's kind of a shame. Kickstarter, another failed Kickstarter game. I just played Myst. Very, very surprised that I got through Myst in like 7 hours. Ran through it, remembered all the puzzles. I played Real Myst the Masterpiece Edition and had to make a special episode of trying to get like Myst the Masterpiece Edition for 2000. Runs but has a few bugs. Real Myst, which was released later in 2000, crashes completely. And then Real Myst Masterpiece Edition was released in 2014, and it runs fine, and that's what I played, but the graphics are still a little low for 2014, and also it has a terrible day-night cycle. I played half of that game just in the middle of the nighttime, because you have to sit there for an hour. It's an hour of daylight, then an hour of night in any area that has the day-night cycle. It's ridiculous. And yes, you have a flashlight, but you don't have brightness, so you can't turn it up. It's gonna be so silly. But what can I do? It would have been a 14-hour day to sit there and play for an hour and then turn around and wait an hour in the night, and I kind of did that in a couple of places, but it seriously affected it. If you're gonna have a day-night cycle, you could have put lighting everywhere or cheated it like most people do, where yes, it's nighttime, but the moon is so bright you can still clearly see everything. But no, it's pitch black. It is pitch black with the moon out. You see the moon, you see the stars, everything else, nothing. The trick there, I would assume, is what you'd want to do is have it in a way that every single surface emitted its own light, just a faint light, instead of reflected light, because when the sun's gone, the reflected light just is gone. There's nothing to reflect it on. Or cheat it in some way, or have the moon produce almost as much light as the sun does. Very surprised I finished that. Because I went through three versions of the same game. That's 3 games that are off my list of things to ever play. I'm not nostalgic enough that I would want to play all of the Myst Masterpiece Edition. Playing original Myst won't ever work, because that would mean I would need to have a Macintosh like Apple II computer, and that would look awful. What I finally resolved myself to is I wish they would just remaster, set it into a prequel remaster type thing that has most of the elements of Myst, maybe changed a little bit on the puzzles, but then the island of Myst is then surrounded by a much larger island, which would fit into the story, because the story does say that there was a lot more ages than before you get in the main game, and that those books were burned and they were destroyed. So maybe that you could argue that the Island of Mist, which is the central hub, had more puzzles that would have linked to those sections,
Do you
but
know
they
the
just
secret
magically
handshake?
disappeared when the books were destroyed. And so if you destroyed maybe the last 4 ages, maybe Mist itself would be just this tiny island or have nothing in it.
Cthulhu! Cthulhu! Cthulhu!
Listen closely.
I never really got the... Let's see. Never really got the full story. Has this guy...
None
Just
may
play this guy. Never really got the full story on how the whole Mist world works. I eventually will try to play Ribbon. I don't think I'm gonna immediately try to do that. Yep, I've lost.
Well played.
That was the wrong move. So, what else? I don't know. So much is going on. So much of it is focused around the Steam sale. I'll see if I can talk about anything else in the next recording, I guess. We've still got 1 more Hunter and 4 Warlock and 3 Warlock things to do. I'm gonna go refresh myself as far as looking at the games I bought. No really great list on what I bought. I can say I got like Ticket to Ride. It was the most unique game I got, and that cost me a pretty penny because of all the DLC on it. It's like $15 to get all the different versions, or just get the main version for on sale and not have any of the DLC, and then not have enough to record different recordings. So that'll be interesting. Anywho, this is where I'm gonna end it. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want a friend to follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.